You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, how y'all doing out there tonight? Yes, it's Jessie, and I miss you when we're not talking. Excuse me just a moment there. Anyway, yes, for those of you who are hanging out around KLRN Radio, no, you didn't just see the same thing come across your screen twice. I am doing an extra episode tonight because I have that much show prep. Trust me, check my Twitter feed. You'll see the stack of show prep. All right. I'm moving some of it around as we speak. Trust me, we will get to it in just a moment. So, there have been a lot of rumors about, are we going to war with North Korea? And the honest answer right now is I don't know. Seriously, I don't know. But my speculation is going to be we're headed in that direction. Now, with the Iran nuclear deal, and in my mind, they may be living up to the letter of the agreement. They are not living up to the spirit of it, because, well, Obama left an enormous, yes, an enormous, I'm saying it again just to emphasize it, loophole. And what that loophole was, all right, that loophole was that basically Iran can do whatever it wants outside of its own borders. So it could it could set up centrifuges in Yemen, where it already has a weapons factory. It can pay another country such as North Korea. Now, I've got a brief audio clip we're going to take a listen to from the UN Security Council about peace on the peninsula.
With a sense of urgency, we should make North Korea perceive without a doubt that it will pay heavily for its provocations, that it will never be accepted as a nuclear weapon state, and that dialogue for denuclearization is the only viable option. The Republic of Korea reaffirms its solid commitment to achieve the denuclearization of North Korea and the establishment of permanent peace on the Korean Peninsula.
All right, almost missed hitting the button. All right, now, Secretary of State Tillerson has said that North Korea must earn its way back to negotiations. Well, many say, and I agree, yes, I'm adjusting part of this stack of show prep, that he offered a peek into quote-unquote secret planning on North Korea. However, what I'm going to say is his quote-unquote statement and slip, I don't think was a slip. Okay? I think it was a planned thing just to kind of give some North Korea a sneak peek. Into what's facing them. If they push us. All right. Secretary of State Tillerson offered some tantalizing details on how the U.S. would race inside North Korea to seize its nuclear weapons in the event of a collapse. Yeah, no, he did. He let a few things slip. I will peek and see if I have the audio while I'm discussing this, okay? Now, keep in mind, Tillerson has said a number of things on North Korea. And you guys know, I've got audio upon audio upon audio. In fact, yes, I will be doing an end-of-year show that is nothing but, and I may even do two of them, audio clip, then commentary. Audio clip, commentary. Because, well, quite frankly, I have that much. You guys, I probably haven't even played some of these clips because I've kind of developed my favorites. But I will tell you this. It's going to be a fun and interesting end of year show. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Chinese have resisted the conversation about North Korea collapsing. The Chinese fear that if news of a conversation leaked, Beijing would be seen as conspiring with the United States over the eventual plans for a North Korean collapse and could erode any leverage they do have. Now remember, China's been backing away from North Korea just a bit. Not a lot. They haven't cut off all the oil. They have backed away a bit. Now, America's hand may be forced for any number of reasons. If North Korea collapses, we don't want whatever nuclear material North Korea has going to Syria, going to Iran, going to GASP, ISIS, Daesh, Hezbollah, Hamas, AQAP. You get the idea. So, one of those things. Now, North Korea is presumed to have undertaken an elaborate effort to hide the weapons. And even if dozens were seized, we wouldn't know if we got them all. And landing render safe teams without knowing the exact locations of all these weapons would be a very tricky process. Now, the Iran nuclear deal and why I'm talking North Korea and the Iran nuclear deal at the same time. First of all, you know what I think of the Iran nuclear deal? Not worth the paper it's printed on. It truly isn't. And I'm going to give you a couple of quick summation reasons why. Iran, A, has never lived up to anything it has ever signed with the West. Iran literally wrote the book. Literally wrote the book on evading sanctions. And I've actually read the entire nuclear deal. Yes, all the amendments, everything. I have actually sat down, trust me, it was watching paint dry, and read the deal. And yes, that loophole does exist. What I, of course, can't get any access to are the secret side deals that were made. Like, I had no clue that Obama had backed the DEA off of Hezbollah when it came time to busting them for drugs because, well, we were working on the Iran nuclear deal. I do not think it should have happened. I'm against it. Now, before I get too far, let's see if I have the clip I want from Nikki Haley. And I got a ton of Haley clips.
Despite our efforts over the past 24 years, the North Korean nuclear program is more advanced and more dangerous than ever. They now fire missiles over Japanese airspace. They now have ICBM capabilities. They now claim to have tested a hydrogen bomb. And just this morning, there are reports that the regime is preparing for yet another ICBM launch. To the members of the Security Council, I must say, enough is enough. We have taken an incremental approach, and despite the best of intentions, it has not worked. Members of this council will no doubt urge negotiations and a return to talks. But as I've just outlined, we have engaged in numerous direct and multilateral talks with the North Korean regime, and time after time, they have not worked.
All right, that wasn't quite the clip I was looking for, but it was a good one. Now, China and Russia. Yes, China and Russia. Wait, you were just talking about a nuclear deal. Bear with. Have proposed what's called a freeze for a freeze. North Korea freezes their nuclear program. We freeze our military activities, or at least aka our joint exercises, with South Korea.
War is never something the United States wants. We don't want it now. But our country's patience is not unlimited. We will defend our allies and our territory. The idea that some have suggested a so-called freeze for freeze is insulting. When a rogue regime has a nuclear weapon, and an ICBM pointed at you, you do not take steps to lower your guard. No one would do that. We certainly won't.
And I think you guys, it's no secret, I'm a huge fan of Nikki Haley. I think she's done a fantastic job. In fact, you know what? That's one woman I would love to see behind the Resolute desk. Yes, you just heard me say that. That's one woman I would love to see behind the Resolute desk. Because she is absolutely amazing. All right. Moving right along. Why am I equating the Iran nuclear deal with North Korea? Think of the Iran nuclear deal as a template that, had it been worth anything, we could have sold to North Korea. Well, the Iran nuclear deal isn't worth the paper it's printed on. So I don't see why we would want to implement such a deal with another country. Now, just as a reminder, what Nikki Haley thinks of North Korea. Not that you need a reminder, but I'm going somewhere.
Yesterday's missile launch was more advanced than previous launches. No one can doubt that this threat is growing. No one can doubt that North Korean dictator is getting more aggressive in his obsession for nuclear power. Yesterday, the regime declared itself a nuclear power, saying that it, quote, completed the state nuclear force tipped with a super-large heavy warhead capable of striking the whole mainland of the United States. But the North Korean regime missed something very important. As we have said before, being a nuclear power comes with certain standards. It comes with being responsible enough to know that you don't threaten other countries with nuclear weapons. You don't starve your own people in order to fund nuclear weapons. You don't bully and play games with nuclear weapons. The regime has shown time and again that it doesn't want to talk. Kim didn't even speak with President Xi's envoy when he was sent to talk to the regime.
Now, just as a reminder to put that clip into a little bit of context, that was after the second launch, before Jeffrey Feltman of the UN went to North Korea. So it is definitely an intriguing thing. Now, I'm just checking to see if there's any updates. No, there is no updates on the most recent North Korean soldier defection. Yes, there was, for those of you just tuning in, there was a second North Korean soldier that defected across the DMZ under heavy fog. The quote-unquote low-ranking soldier appeared in front of a guard post on the Midwestern Front around 8 a.m. amid thick fog. After the defection, the North Korean border guards approached the military demarcation line, aka the actual border, in search of the defector. In response, North Korean troops fired some 20 warning shots around 9:30. Approximately 40 minutes after that, there were several gunshots from the north, but no bullets were found to have crossed the border. So, for those of you just tuning in, yes, another North Korean has the best Christmas present of all. Freedom. Now, if the Iran nuclear deal is such a mess, and we left so many loopholes, and Iran, the country who literally wrote the book on evading sanctions, has partnered with North Korea, what's to say North Korea wouldn't take a deal just to get some sanctions relief and maybe lay off for a little while and then start work in earnest again, or time it so that they sign the deal about the same time, or let's say the Iran's was ending. My only thing is, I don't think Kim Jong-un is going to wait 8 years to have a miniaturized nuclear warhead and the missile to deliver it. And I'll explain to you why I think he's pushing further, farther, harder, and faster than his predecessors. And on that note, folks, it is time to pay those radio station bills. Yes, it is that time once again, and I will see you on the other side.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country needing you right now, but I don't wanna.
All right, thank y'all for hanging in there with me while I paid those radio station bills. Now, I want to take a minute, because I completely forgot to do so last hour, to mention to you guys where you can keep up with me when I am not on the air. Yes, I am on Twitter at Jesse's POV. And you can also email me at the station at jessespov@klrnradio.com. Now, I've got your dose of North Korean propaganda. Yes, I have some wonderful North Korean propaganda for you. The complete success in the test fire of the new ICBM Hwasong-15 strikingly manifested the tremendous might of the DPRK and its strategic position as a powerful entity which would spearhead the situation in the Korean Peninsula and the region. Yes, that's what they think of their own nuclear missile launch. Now, let's continue with the propaganda. In the course of covering the path of victories and glories under the guidance of the respected Marshal Kim Jong-un, the army and the people of the DPRK became convinced that the road of simultaneous developments of the two fronts is a shortcut to being a powerful country and an ever victorious path, and have deeply cherished the precious truth that only the line of the simultaneous development of the two fronts would help display the dignity and spirit of the country and the nation to achieve its prosperity. The desperate moves of the United States and its followers to stop the DPRK from bolstering the capabilities for self-defense have now reached the height. But no challenge and obstruction on the part of the United States or its followers can ever check the advance of the DPRK. We are not afraid of sanctions and blockade and the tyrannical nuclear stick of enemies as long as we hold a treasured sword of the simultaneous development of the two fronts. No matter how severe the situation is and what manifold difficulties we may face, we will further bolster the deterrence for self-defense under the uplifted banner of the simultaneous development of the two fronts. The final victory belongs to us dashing forward under the banner. All right, that was your dose of North Korean propaganda. Now, moving right along. As you know, Trump offloaded to Congress the decision as to whether to reimpose sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program. Lawmakers are set to hand the contentious issue back to the president after missing a deadline to deal with it. Trump vowed in October to scrap the landmark nuclear agreement unless Congress and the U.S. allies intervene to address his concerns. But congressmen failed to agree on changes to U.S. legislation within the 60 days. The president will now have to decide in January whether to recertify the accord and waive nuclear sanctions or refuse to and risk breaking the deal. Under the 2015 deal, Iran agreed to curb its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. And this deal was signed by France, Germany, UK, US, China, and Russia. It was backed by the EU and the UN. Now, I'm getting there. I'm getting there, don't worry. Non-proliferation experts have long suspected North Korea and Iran are sharing the know-how when it comes to their rogue missile programs. Earlier this year, CIA Director Mike Pompeo said that Iran would certainly be someone who would be willing to pay for the expertise that North Korea is developing. The North Koreans have a long history of being a weapons proliferation state and sharing their knowledge, their technology, and their capabilities around the world. As North Korea continues to improve its ability to do longer-range missiles and to put nuclear weapons on those missiles, it is very unlikely that if they get that capability, they wouldn't share it with lots of folks. All right. Like I said, there is that one major loophole in the Iran nuclear deal that no one seems to be talking about. Now, I don't recall what this clip is about, but we're going to play it and find out.
Seeing the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, for what it is rather than what we would like it to be obliges us to recognize two highly unpleasant truths. First, the real existing North Korean leadership, as opposed to the imaginary version that some Westerners would like us to negotiate with, will never willingly give up their nuclear option. Acquiescing in denuclearization would be tantamount to abandoning its mission of Korean reunification, which is to say, disavowing the DPRK's very raison d'etre. Second, international entreaties can never succeed in convincing the DPRK to relinquish its nuclear weapons program. Sovereign governments simply do not trade away their vital national interests.
All right. North Korea does not want to basically disappear. North Korea wants to be there. Reunification of the Korean Peninsula under South Korea would essentially mean North Korea evaporating. They are not going to go quietly into the night. Now, let's get back to the Iran nuclear deal. The Iranian test launch of the court of that Iran conducted had a range of 1,250 miles and is based on a North Korean design. And this proves, again, that the two nations are working together. Now, this is an older article. This is from 2012. Iran has stationed defense staff in North Korea since late October, apparently to strengthen cooperation in missile and nuclear development. Like I said, this was in 2012. The Iranian mission is made up of 4 experts from Iran's Ministry of Defense and firms close to it. They were staying at a military facility 53 miles from the North Korean border with China. And the two countries signed an agreement to cooperate in science and technology earlier this year. North Korea has, like I said, we already know North Korea has very close ties. Now, you add to that we know Iran is one of the world's largest state sponsors of terror. And the fact that they have been supplying weapons to Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Now, we're going to go back to, are we going to war with North Korea briefly? Alright, sorry I was sidetracked by the chat room briefly. I will get back to that in just a second. I have an article here under my nose, and I am going to read you the headline, and then we're going to talk about it. Why war, North Korea, why war is the only option now? Yes, you heard that correctly. Choosing to deter North Korea is to engage in a gamble. You avoid the costs of a preventative war today, when North Korea is relatively weak. But you run the risk of an accidental nuclear war later when North Korea is vastly more powerful. I mean, come on, we watched the Soviets do this. The North Korean regime is completely committed to its nuclear program. And they have told us, in no uncertain terms, no amount of sanctions, no amount of international shunning, no naval blockades, nothing is going to deter them. They won't back down. And in my mind, that means neither should we. All right, the risk of accidental war. The US and Soviets were rational actors during the Cold War. At least as rational as Kim Jong-un. Because, well, trust me, as crazy as he seems, he does not want to be annihilated. However, remember the Cuban Missile Crisis. Imagine it being the North Korean Missile Crisis. Just think about this for a minute. Imagine if North Korea were to send a squadron of subs armed with nuclear torpedoes, we'll say towards Guam, Japan, or South Korea. Because while North Korean subs are kind of leaky old tubs, they can get to South Korea for sure. So just picture the chaos this would cause. Then picture some peeved off North Korean commander who's just had it and just says, forget it, we're launching. Or picture the human error, like back in 1979, a training tape simulating a full Soviet nuclear attack was somehow loaded onto the main NORAD early warning system. Fortunately, the flight time of Soviet missiles, yes, back then it was the Soviet Union, gave NORAD time to check the raw radar data to see if it confirmed the information. Finding it did not, the U.S. did not launch a retaliatory strike. So do we want to take this chance of an accidental nuclear war or a North Korean missile crisis as opposed to a Cuban missile crisis? Now, if the United States chooses to deal with North Korea by means of preventative war, then it's likely it's going to happen in 2018. I have seen rumors, and I'm not even going to mention where I heard them because the places are a little bit wacky, that it's going to happen after the Olympics, which actually makes some sense. This war will lead to North Korea launching could lead to North Korea launching nuclear weapons at cities in South Korea and Japan. Now, keep in mind, we do have the capability. We have Patriot missile batteries, and we moved THAAD onto the peninsula. Japan has purchased missile air defense from us. We have our air defense units stationed in Japan. So, like I said, do we want to gamble that there would never be an accidental detonation? Or that Kim Jong-un won't feel like one of our military exercises is actually an invasion instead of a, quote, rehearsal for an invasion, and just launch something. Now, defenses advances in missile defense do not eliminate the North Korean nuclear threat. While we do need to improve U.S. missile defense capabilities, missile defense is not a guarantee. For example, I can tell you that to take out a Scud with the Patriot missile system, we don't launch one, we launch two or more. And I say that because it depends on the exact configuration, which I'm not going to go into on air. Now, I am trying to explain to you quite a number of topics. Now you know why I did 2 hours tonight. And I do want to thank Stafford for taking a brief hiatus and giving me the opportunity to clean out my show prep. We're going to wrap up with where the North Korean crisis meets the Iran nuclear deal. By virtue of military might, the U.S. has the unique ability to quickly and credibly place adversaries under existential threat. Come on, our military is quite strong. We know this. Now, a government constantly living under the threat of decapitation doesn't enjoy it. And, well, there is some paranoia about it, trust me. And that's why North Korea is pushing so hard on the nuclear thing. North Korea is set to prove, and this article is earlier this month, to the world that it has attained a nuclear deterrent with the November 29th test of its longest-ranged ICBM yet. Okay, so let's just say that North Korea has an ICBM. They do. The re-entry vehicle, well, that's a bit dodgy, but they're working on it. The U.S. is weighing the risks of carrying out a preventative military campaign to avoid entering the dangerous new global order, because I am willing to bet you if we go into a preventative war with North Korea, unless there's a backroom deal with Russia and China, they are going to jump in on North Korea's side, not one of them. And not to mention, my theory, and this is speculation on your host's part, we get involved in North Korea, Iran is going to act a fool and start something in the Middle East, so yes, we would be involved in a two-front war, and that is what defines a world war. Now, Iran has to weigh the consequences of abiding by the nuclear deal. Okay? The effort to shift attention from North Korea to Iran has been underway for some time. Trump has made clear he sees the nuclear deal that Obama signed as flimsy and wholly insufficient. He could decertify the deal and reinstitute sanctions and do all kinds of other things that could remove us from the deal. Iran now has to, if we do that, let's say we pull out of the deal, Iran now has to decide, are they, now that the biggest dog in the fight has backed out, are they going to hold up their end of the deal, or are they going to back out? All right. Even if the framework of the nuclear deal survives, even tenuously, Iran will still be on alert for other aggressive U.S.-backed efforts to destabilize its political system. After all, if the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia believe the nuclear deal is fundamentally flawed and that they must compel Tehran back to the negotiating table, they'll need to find ways to credibly threaten the Iranian government's continued existence. Now, don't forget, Iran controls Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas, AQAP. They've got a paw in that. They don't control it, but they sure could start supplying weapons to them. Not to mention there's cyber and other, they've hacked Bitcoin. They've hacked Sony. People look at me and go, you're crazy. They can't even feed their own people. No, they choose not to. China's former ambassador to Tehran made the case that Beijing, not the American Secretary of State John Kerry, yes, this is an older article, or the European Union deserve credit for brokering the Iran nuclear deal. There's been, however, I'm not sure that is accurate. I have my disagreements and my doubts. China was not one of the 6 party members. Chinese leaders say their nation has always adopted a serious, responsible attitude toward preventing the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Womp womp, fail. Beijing has proven masterful at procuring time for nuclearization rogues, having protected North Korea during negotiations about its atomic program. Okay? And that was China does sponsor the 6-party talks and has so since 2003. And this was considered a 6-party talk. If you keep up with the news, you would have heard the term P5+1. Now, during all 3 North Korean detonations, there were Iranian representatives, including the person who is thought to be Iran's chief nuclear scientist. Iran has been funding the North Korean program for perhaps as long as a decade, which means, in theory, the Islamic Republic is already a nuclear state. Now, if Russia and China stay out of the fight, it will not be as challenging or as tough to put down North Korea. However, China also supports Iran. China's little brother is North Korea. And I don't think China has entirely minded the fact that North Korea is acting a fool, because that takes our mind off their real-world version of Minecraft. All right, I have reached the end of my time. I thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's special 2-show, double POV episode. And for those of you listening on podcast, this is just the second half. I'm sure I could continue to go on. However, you can always follow me on Twitter at Jesse's POV. You can email me at the station at Jesse's POV at KLRNRadio.com. And on that note, folks, I will see you next time on Jesse's POV.